Hey everyone, so I'm recording this in addition to the lesson that you already have this week. I just want to outline some differences between adding and subtracting polynomials versus multiplying polynomials. So I'm going to go through some examples. Some of these you might recognize from your homework. I just want to mention some mistakes that I've been seeing, and then I want you to see an example of each with the same polynomial so that you could see the differences. So you guys did pretty well for adding polynomials, and again I'm just going to review that really quick. So I have two columns on the screen, one on the left side which is adding, subtracting. Sorry, my daughter's in the back, she's watching TV, so you might hear her. But for the first one, you have 2x plus 1 adding with 3x plus 5. On the right hand side, we have the same thing, only they're multiplying. Okay, so if you're adding them, remember you can drop your parentheses if it's addition. So I'm just going to bring everything down. And then from here, you combine like terms. Okay, so for the first one, 2x and 3x are like terms. And then positive 1 and 5 are like terms. So you can combine those. So 2x plus 3x is 5x, and then the 1 plus 5 is 6. Okay, so this would end up being your answer if you're adding those. When you're adding polynomials, you add the coefficients. The coefficients are the numbers in the front. Okay, these are coefficients, and then you carry your variable. When you're multiplying polynomials though, okay, so on the right hand side I have the same ones, only we're multiplying them. You distribute, and when you multiply you add your exponents. So for example, let's do the first one together. So 2x, and then I'm going to use the distribution method times 3x and then times 5. So 2x times 3x is not 6x, it's 6x squared. And the reason for that is the first x has an exponent of 1. The second one also has an exponent of 1. So you add your you add your exponents together when you're multiplying. So I'm just going to make a note. Add exponents when multiplying. Okay, so again, that one's going to be 6x squared. Okay, so now the 2x times 5 is just going to be 10x, and that's because there's no x here for me to add. Technically there is, it's x to the 0 power, which is 1. I talked about that before, but there's no x that needs to be added onto that one. Okay, then you have to worry about your second term, so the positive one being multiplied to everything. Okay, so 1 times 3x is going to give you 3x, and then 1 times 5 is going to give you 5. From here, you now add like terms. Okay, the 6x squared, that's the only term with a square. You can combine though the 10x and the 3x, and the 5 cannot be combined, it's your constant. So 6x squared, 10x plus 3x is 13x, and then plus 5. So you could see that your answers for multiplying and adding those are very different. So when you're doing these problems on your homework, make sure that you're adding your exponents when you're multiplying, and then when it says to add, make sure you're just combining the coefficients. Okay, so for here you're just combining coefficients. Okay, let me do one more problem with you guys. B 5x squared plus 3x squared, and then 5x squared times 3x squared. Okay, so it's the same. You're multiplying two monomials together. For the first one, you have 5x squared plus 3x squared. If you add those, that'll give you 8x squared, and you can combine them because they both have the x squared term, so you just add your exponents together. That's the only thing you add. It's not 8x to the 4th. Okay, it's just 8x squared. You carry your variable. For the second one though, if we're multiplying them, you multiply your numbers. So 5 times 3 is going to give you 15, and then your x squared times x squared, you add your exponents. Okay, so that one's going to be x to the 4th power. Okay, so again, the answers for those are very different. The first one is 8x squared, second one is 15x to the 4th power. I said that was the last one, but there's actually one more. Sorry. One more. This one I pulled from your homework. Okay. So for this one, the first one, we're adding them. Second one, we're multiplying them. They're the same exact. I have a monomial and a binomial. Monomial and binomial. First, I'm going to add them. Next one, I'm multiplying them. Okay. So for the first one, If I look at it, adding them, I have parentheses, so I'm going to drop my parentheses. And then for the second one, for the second step, you want to look for like terms. Okay, this is the only term with the squared, so that can't be combined with anything. This is my only x term, and then I only have one constant. So there's actually nothing for me to combine. So my answer is 4x squared plus x plus 2. It's in standard form. Your powers are in descending order. If you were to multiply those together, though, you could use the distributive property. So 4x squared times x, okay? So my constant here is technically a 1 if there's nothing there. So 4 times 1 is 4. And then remember, you're multiplying x squared with x. So that's going to be x cubed because this x has a power of 1. And you add your powers together, okay? For the next one, 4x times 2, okay? 4 times 2 is 8, and it's positive 8 because I don't have a negative. So it's going to be 8. I don't have x's here, so you just bring down this one that you have there. So it's going to be x squared. All right, you cannot combine those. One is to the third power, one is to the second power, but you always want to make sure and see if you can. So it's in simplified form. It's also in standard form. So again, I just want to make it clear that you're multiplying on this homework assignment, homework 35, and not adding them. I want you to see the difference between both. So hopefully this helped.